everybody, welcome back. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Claire and I'm a current Doctoral Occupational Therapy Student Intern with CSC. In my previous video, I talked about the do's and don'ts to improve sleep quality and better sleep management. So today I'll be talking about something that's a little bit more of a hot topic and one that's kind of experienced by many, and that is energy levels. And today I'll be giving you some information on energy conservation techniques and ways we can incorporate these strategies into our daily activities to help combat that fatigue that we're experiencing that follows along with low energy levels. So let's start off with what are energy conservation techniques? And these are ways of adapting or modifying how we engage in an activity in hopes of conserving energy or prolonging our energy and endurance so that we can continue to engage in activities throughout the day. So before we get started, we want to make sure that we go over some general tips and tricks, right? We want to focus on the importance of our breathing. Whenever we're engaging in a taxing activity that's putting stress on our body, we need to remember to take those deep breaths. A strategy we like to call pursed lip breathing. And to do that, you start by inhaling through your nose like you're smelling flowers, and exhaling through your mouth like you're blowing out a candle. So if you do that throughout your activity, before, after, that really contributes to help kind of manage your breathing, help your endurance, and start the process of increasing your activity tolerance. Another thing related to energy conservation is prioritizing your activities for each day. It's important that you create a list of everything that needs to get done that day, and then you reflect on what out of those tasks is the most challenging. And the ones that you find the most challenging, or the ones that you find are more energy taxing on your bodies, we want to prioritize those to do at the beginning of our day, right? So in the morning when we get up is when we're gonna generally have the most energy for our bodies. So if we do the most difficult ones early on in the day, then later on we have more energy to do the ones that are easier or the ones that we enjoy the most. Another thing we like to tell individuals is to gather everything at once, right? We want to decrease the amount of trips we're taking, the amount of times we're bending down to get something out of a low shelf or a high cupboard. So anything we can do to help reduce the energy that we're spending trying to gather all the materials so we can put that energy into actually completing the activity. So for example, when we take cooking into account, when we're preparing our meals, we have to go to the refrigerator, the cupboard, the pantry, all of that. So instead of grabbing something, setting it down on the table, going to the pantry and getting something and bringing it back to the table, grab a bag or a tray, or if you use a walker or a rollator that has a little basket on it, use anything you can, grab stuff from the refrigerator, the pantry, and the cupboard all at once, and then bring it down to the table and start prepping your meal. To go along with that, we want to sit down when we're engaging in some of our tasks, whenever possible. I know it's something so simple, and that's why you might not always think of it, but transitioning from standing to cutting your vegetables to sitting down to cutting your vegetables, even that little energy that you save can be applied to actually using that energy to cook the meal. So we want to make sure that we're conserving energy in every little way that we can. Another one that's very important is pace. I know a lot of people like to get errands done, chores done, all of that super quickly, but we need to take a step back, stop, reflect, and pace ourselves. We don't want to go too fast and we don't want to go too slow. So to help with our pacing, we can incorporate rest breaks. We like to work a little, rest a little. So work for 5, rest for 5. Work for 10 minutes, rest for 10 minutes. We want you to incorporate those frequent rest breaks into your activities before you get too tired. So if we're incorporating rest breaks throughout cleaning the bathroom, we're gonna be okay, right? We don't wanna clean the whole bathroom and then feel so fatigued to where we don't have energy to do anything else the rest of the day. We wanna know our bodies, listen to our bodies, and say, hey, this might be a good time to stop and take a break before I get too tired to even finish cleaning the rest of the bathroom. So be mindful of your pace, your rest breaks, sitting down instead of standing. Another one we oftentimes don't think about is delegating. If you've got that great support system within your family or your neighbors or your friends, don't feel bad to delegate and ask for help, right? those more challenging or energy taxing activities, don't be afraid to say, hey, would you mind helping me out with this activity so I can go do this one? That one's a little bit more challenging for me. But if we find ways around things so where we can ask for help, that way we're not using all of our energy on those really challenging activities. Overall, it's important to be mindful and listen to what your body's telling you so you ultimately know how you can step back and fix something. Another thing we like to talk about is working smarter and not harder. So really finding those ways to break up the activities, really thinking about what's important, what really needs to get done, what can I wait to do. All of that is going to be super beneficial for you in the end. Another thing we like to talk about that's super crucial into not only conserving energy and helping with fatigue, but for our overall physical health is body mechanics. So things like making sure that we're carrying boxes closer to our bodies is going to conserve energy and put less stress on our muscles and our bodies overall. We don't want to be carrying a heavy box away from us because then our bodies are working harder to keep us upright, the box upright, and using those muscles just to keep it in the air while we're walking around. Using things like built-up handles. So if you struggle with arthritis or even if you're just too fatigued to really squeeze or hold on to a handle, like with cooking, I know we use garlic presses, right? If we're too tired to really push that shut to mince the garlic, think of what we can do to decrease the stress and decrease the energy required. So finding adaptive tools like electric can openers, electric garlic presses, all of those things, or even just having a built-up handle. So that thicker handle is really going to ease the stress that's required from our hands and our upper body muscles. We want to focus on having the appropriate posture. So we want to make sure our shoulders, our hips, our feet, our knees, we're all aligned center and at 90 degrees to whatever we're working on at that point in time. We want to be mindful of that because that's not only going to help with our posture for as we age throughout the lifespan, but also with the energy that's required just to keep our bodies upright. So we want to make sure that we're ultimately keeping those 90-degree angles sharp and straight, so we're reducing the energy that's being taken away from us when we're doing an activity. So we talked a little bit about cooking, and I want to circle back to that. I know we talked about grabbing those materials right away, bringing them back to the table, preparing them instead of standing, bringing it to the table and sit down to chop them up. We talked a little bit about adaptive tools. I encourage you to look at Bed Bath & Beyond, Walgreens, Walmart, Amazon, anywhere you can. There are tons and tons of adaptive tools and equipment that can be really beneficial for you in the kitchen when you're cooking. Something even as simple as investing in lightweight cookware. Or if you find that it's becoming too challenging to keep your heavy pots and pans down below, all you have to do is bring them up and set them on the back stove and keep them there for when you use them. That way you're reducing the amount of times you're bending down to get the pans and come back up. Another one we like to think about is making our meals in bulk, right? I know a lot of you guys like to make chili or soups, especially in the winter times. So making those things in bulk, and then you can freeze them. That way you can take them out later on for those days that you're really not feeling well or that you feel too fatigued or too tired to really prepare and cook a meal. You'll have those in the freezer to take out. Cleaning up. No one likes to do that after cooking meals. So something as simple as letting our pots and pans just soak in warm soapy water. I know a lot of people like to get things done, go rush so they don't have to do it later. But something as simple as letting them soak in a pot of warm soapy water is going to be the best for you, right? Then you require less energy and force to scrub those dishes clean. For dressing, I know this kind of goes along with the cooking. We want to grab all of our shirts and socks and pants all at once and then sit down to get dressed. If you find that bending over is too challenging for you, grab a stool, put that stool under your foot, and then put your socks and shoes on. If you find that's still too challenging for you, there are these adaptive tools and equipment that we recommend to help with dressing every day. So things like a long-handled shoe horn, right? That'll help you not need to bend down, requiring less energy. We have things called sock aids. They're kind of plastic half-shaped tubes and half-shaped circles that all you do is you slide the sock on. It comes with two handles. You slide that down by your foot and just pull it on up. We've got dressing sticks to help if you find that reaching overhead is too challenging for your shoulders or upper body muscles. Long-handled sponges for the shower. Those are super helpful to get your back and your feet. And reachers. I'm sure plenty of you guys have seen those. They're just kind of long sticks with a little grabber at the end with a little trigger at the top. Super helpful to pick up tissues, wrappers, socks, anything off the floor, so that way your body isn't having to spend all that energy to reach down and come back up. To go more along with house cleaning and house supplies, we talked about taking rest breaks and pacing ourselves. So if we're cleaning our house, we don't want to clean the whole house at once, right? Pick a room, clean, incorporate rest breaks, but also keeping multiples of supplies throughout your house, right? So if you have 2 bathrooms or more than 1 bathroom anywhere, keep multiple supplies of those cleaning supplies in your bathrooms. That way you don't have to lug it up and down the stairs or around your house. It's better to slide boxes or supplies rather than lift. So if you can slide something across the table to your friend, that's better than picking something heavy up and handing it to them. So ultimately, it really comes down to pacing yourself, incorporating those rest breaks, sitting down when you can, delegating tasks to others, asking for help. Try and sit in chairs with armrests. That'll be helpful in having more points of contact to get you up out of that chair if you find that's difficult for you. Taking out your trash more often, that way you're not waiting till your bag of trash is super heavy that you have to lug it all the way to the trash can. Just trying to do these simple things in your daily lifestyles can make a huge difference in your energy and fatigue levels in the long run and overall. So taking a step back, thinking about what you do now, where is my house set up at, how do I have things set up, if I have my spices that I use on the top shelf, think about how much energy your body is using to stay on your tippy toes with your arms raised above your head, balanced and everything, to search for those ingredients. Move things down to where they're within reach. We want everything to be within reach of us, right? We don't want to get out of that base of support, because then we're ultimately using so much more energy and our bodies are having to work so much harder to keep us balanced and upright. But doing all of these things can really benefit you all in the long run, and I hope you guys start to make little simple adaptations, modifications. Be creative, innovate different things that might work for you. Ultimately, everybody and every body is different and unique. What one thing works for somebody might not work for yourself, so don't be afraid to keep trying new things, keep modifying and changing your environment until you find something that helps. But most importantly, don't give up, keep trying, make those changes, and in the long run, you'll see it really is effective. Stay tuned for more videos, and thanks for watching.